Be live. Michelle, what you got?
Um, I'm working on, well, I released the server installation and with this change to silent Docker logs that can be changed if people want to log them to see them. And also, I've been working on trying to make PR tests work. So,
Okay.
in case you're not working on the library itself, you're just working um, on a fork or something. Um, but run into a couple issues there, trying to get some help in the DocAssembly channel. Something with SSL errors. I haven't worked with that before, so um, don't know. Yeah, I and yeah, I think that's about it. Working on the JSON schema stuff, but I guess that's not really related to the project. It's tangential,
I just
sort of. Mm-hmm.
and I just put a little text out to the journal channel in case anyone wanted to jump on. Um,
So
okay.
there we go.
Uh, yeah. And I've just been working on some stuff in relationship to making like a super quick like level one form using AI, which is to say large language models, to help go right from the form to the drafting of the question and the production of the YAML. Um, so like the Weaver, but like AI Weaver Lite. And so the idea is
Okay.
just to get to a YAML as quickly as possible. And it's
Sounds
coming along.
interesting.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm about to test some metrics, so we'll see how well I've how generally it's been engineered. It works on the one or two forms I've been using for testing quite well. So the question is,
Okay.
how does it generalize? That's the big question. So I'm close to testing that, so that'll be exciting.
Um, is it a matter of engineering prompts, or is
It
there
was it was really getting most of it was wrangling PDFs and getting to the point where
mm,
you could get text a text stream with
representation?
variables in
Okay.
line in context. So I don't know how much you know about PDF structure, but they're like a spaghetti of
Yeah.
overlapping fields and boxes. And so Bryce had written a lot of nice scripts to take some of the libraries that are out there and do some handling that we use. So the form fixer library has a bunch of that stuff in it. And
Mm,
so I've been expanding on that. And basically now I've got it so it can take a form that already has fields in it. It doesn't matter what they're labeled, but already has some fields in it. And then it can basically the big challenge was getting it to the point where it oh, and Bryce, I thought you were off this week. You don't have to be, but that's I'm glad to see you. But
Oh, next week
um,
I'm actually I'm still doing stuff.
doing some stuff. I was just telling Michelle about the progress I've been making on the little Weaver Lite AI edition thing. And I was saying the hard
Yeah.
part actually, she's like, what is it? Is it just like prompting it? No, the hard part was dealing with PDFs.
No,
Um,
yeah.
and
always is.
I was just talking about how you had built some nice stuff in the library for the form fixer, and I was building on that. But now I can get it to you can give a form with some fields, and it will produce a string of text, which is the text from the PDF, but with the variables in line in context. So,
Mhm.
like please enter your name and then like, field and then blah, 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 so whatever's on the thing and they're there in the text string as if in the right place. And that was really, really hard to do. It's super annoying. Um, and then I have it. So basically we'll take those. Once you have that, then you have enough context to be able to do things like write it, look at the, LLM, look at this text with these placeholders, uh, make a nice new variable name for each of those placeholder variables, and then create a definition of what that variable is based upon the context. So you basically in comes a PDF, then it comes back out with these nice sort of semantically labeled names. So, name is like name and last name is last name and all that. And then along with that, a dictionary that defines the variables with, like name, it's the first name of the user filling out this form, blah, 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 blah. And then you leverage those definitions to create questions. So it's like, what question would you ask to elicit this answer from the person completing the form? And then those questions, and then also like, what data type do you think it is? And so the data type and the questions then get used to automatically generate a YAML. And then we use, the rest of the, DocAssembly, built-ins and the assembly line stuff to like have it fill out a form. So
how many tokens is that, like, to absorb the whole DocAssembly system, really?
Well, it doesn't absorb the DocAssembly system because a lot of it's just the prompts are just the only LLM prompts are given this text string, write a dictionary for the variables. Then it's like given this dictionary, write a set of questions. Given these questions, guess at the data type. And that's pretty much the only LLM interactions. There is some other LLM usage for error correction. So when we have LLMs creating Python dictionaries, I have another LLM that will first evaluates and see if it's a valid dictionary. And if it's not, it says, this is trying to be a valid dictionary. Can you fix it? Because usually it's like off by like, there's a quote here or something. And so it will try to fix the thing that it had produced before. And it'll cycle through that, increasing the temperature on the LLM until it gets something that's a good dictionary.
So it doesn't turn it into the YAMLs. We turn it into the YAML.
It turns it into structured data. So it turns it into the dictionary, basically into a list of questions and data types. And then we turn that into YAML. So yeah, no, it would be way too much to try to teach it all. These mixed methods are what I'm finding very useful with these approaches. So you have it. There's stuff you can do that's straightforward, and so the question is, can you use this to basically ingest, quasi-structured text data and produce, text data based on that, and then those are the things it's really great for. And then all the other stuff you do the normal. Normal approach. But so it's pretty cool. So at least if you have a form that doesn't have any checkboxes, there's a chance that it will actually be able to produce a perfectly fine level 1 form.
Oh, the thing you have doesn't handle checkboxes? I think I missed that.
Yeah, it doesn't handle checkboxes very well. I mean, it kind of knows they're there. But the problem is it's very hard to know sometimes what a checkbox is asking about. So
that's fair, yeah.
I haven't gotten it to write definitions for checkboxes yet. So just as a first approach, I have it just ignoring them.
That's fair. Yeah, I guess there's some extra level of stuff.
Yeah, well, the problem is because the test forms I was talking to Michelle before, I'm saying we'll see how well it generalizes. But the forms I've been testing with, the one that had checkboxes, it was like a checkbox and then like a text field next to it to like say, it's like, it's basically, where are you going to use the ID? Which ID are you going to use? And the checkbox was, like photo ID, your driver's license or other photo ID. And then next to those were you'd write in, then it actually had more text and it said photo ID number and blah blah blah. And so it was just, they were just too tight and close to each other. Although now as I'm saying this, I can think of some ways that I might approach it. But yeah,
really?
my first level approximation, I just
what?
simplified it. Oh, well, I think the thing is right now I'm not putting the checkboxes in line, but I could probably put them in line with some context to say this is a checkbox.
I was gonna say, we have the thing that I did for with PDF Miner. It handles all the fields that are there.
Yeah.
It's just any field that comes across, it spits out like the name, and we have access to the type, which is either text or checkbox or whatever, that we could encode into the name somehow, like just add an extra underscore at the end, and that might be good enough.
Yeah. Well, I have it figuring out basically that they are checkboxes, but I don't have, I haven't done any more than just know they're there. I kind of ignored them when producing the text stream on the
That's fair, yeah.
But yeah, I guess that'll be the next thing is actually getting it to deal with larger documents. And then after that, maybe I'll think about checkboxes. But I gotta stop working on code because we're doing this all part of as writing something.
Oh,
that is
okay.
due very soon. So I got to stop writing code and start writing text. But anyhow, that's what I've been doing. Bryce, what's up with you?
Not much. At this point, I'm just trying to do FormFest
All right.
slides.
Cool.
Well, if you need like
Going on.
someone to read it or anything, someone to practice on.
Not at the moment, no. Don't need practice, need the actual stuff.
I think you
I
should,
don't know what we're talking about.
you should start thinking. Well, we can move to casual Fridays and have more discussions. But yeah,
If Bryce is here, I have more questions about not necessarily the SSL problem, but my approach to the problem in general, if that's
SSL
okay.
problem?
So this is what I'm trying to do is, you know how we were going to do it all through Bash, do the DA install all through Bash, right? For
Yeah.
PRs, so that it works for PRs as well as other types of.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think I could do it in the JavaScript and therefore leave it as a script in JavaScript, and that would work for people doing it locally and they wouldn't have to do it manually. And I think, so just to check in, sanity check, does that approach sound reasonable?
What you mean, just do like zip up a thing and send it to the DocAssembly server through our own script? I thought like we had this. We had a thing.
DA install. Just use
just
DA
wrap
install,
that.
just exec, right?
I don't think yeah. Okay, if it's just exec, I don't think exec really is that useful if to wrap it in a JavaScript thing. People can still like they'll still need to have it, and it's just another like level of indirection that like if people already need to have DA installed to use like to do run it locally, then just run it locally.
It would pip install DA install. They just wouldn't have to remember the code. That's like my main thing is I never remember what code I'm supposed to run.
I mean, I don't know. I think it's one of those. I feel like that's not our. I don't know. I feel like it's really us running it locally. If it helps you, I guess that's useful. But I don't think it's. I don't think it's worth like all of like keeping around a bunch of extra code to just do, to just handle like local installs.
Well, I mean, it has to do other stuff like make the project name and check if the project name exists. Like it has to do all these things, right?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. DA install does that. DA install, like if it doesn't exist, it makes the new project and then it just uploads to the project that you give it. Like
right, but if the project name conflicts with an existing project name, we don't want it to overwrite the existing project name.
We don't.
No.
What I guess
I mean, it's unlikely, but suppose you have two tests running on one branch, which is the usual unique creates a unique creating a unique name, right? Won't work if it created it at the same time, which could theoretically happen. If
I don't think it's worth trying to this is okay, but yeah, because that's the timestamp and that's like if they're run. Do we go to the millisecond now, or is it just to the second?
I think it's to the millisecond.
If it's to the millisecond, that's not. I don't think it's worth it. If it's to the second, maybe. Like if it's to the millisecond and we're concerned with people running two things at the same time, I would say that's fairly out of scope for what we're trying to do. We're not working at the scale of we're spinning off 100 jobs in the span of a second, and there's a larger than zero impact of it happening at the same millisecond. I don't really think that's what we're trying to build ALKiln for.
Okay, I'm just saying it's got other stuff to do. Saving the project name, doing other various things. And there's no, I mean, the script can install pip. I mean, it can install DA install.
I don't think that, how, like, pip would it install it
with
globally?
exec.
Would it, yeah, but how does it use pip? Does it install it globally? Does it set up a virtual im for you? Like, there's a lot of complexity that if I was doing things locally, I would not want it to do.
Mm.
And it's one of those, like, it works until it hits a very small snag, and then it would completely break. And I feel like it would just be easier for both the user and for us to instead document, like, oh, if you're doing this locally, you should know how to do Python stuff. If you don't, here's some documentation on how to, like, run pip with a virtual env or anything like that locally. And now that you know how to do that, pip install DA and, like, or DocAssembly CLI or whatever it's called, like, running those sorts of steps, because we cannot handle the complexity of virtual envs in our exec script. And I don't think it's a good idea to.
Okay, but then the developer handles virtual envs, or they just
Yes, yeah. Like
I
essentially,
just as a developer, it just sounds like pain.
I mean, yeah, but this is like what
You got to put it
doing
somewhere.
doc assembles. Yeah, like, it has to be somewhere. And, like, essentially, like, I could see it happening. I would be fairly annoyed if it started installing, like, DocAssembly
Okay.
CLI in
So
random places that I don't know
could
about.
right.
All right.
But
I got to
okay.
jump to another meeting.
Oh,